Hello, Pittsburgh. I'm Anna Mares, and this is Trib Lives from the Newsroom podcast, bringing you top stories from TribLive.com. We're well into summer events, and the Steel City and Anthrocon, a Pittsburgh staple, returned for a 4-day event held at the David L. Lawrence Convention Center from last Thursday through Sunday. Organizers projected a record 19,000 attendees, the highest amount since the event debuted in 1997. Megan Swift and I covered the background of the Furries' journey to Pittsburgh and the Anthrocon experience. We're here today to recap it all for you. Hey Megan, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
So a little bit about Anthrocon and its background and kind of how it came to Pittsburgh. Interestingly enough, Anthrocon originated in Albany, New York in 1997, and it kind of bopped around, changed location, looking for a permanent home, going to Valley Forge and then Philadelphia, where they thought they were going to be landing for quite a while, until a last-minute hotel cancellation in Philadelphia led Anthrocon searching for a new place to stay, wanting to stay true to their roots as being a Pennsylvania event. And Visit Pittsburgh actually directly reached out and contacted the organizers and invited them to bring their furry friends to Pittsburgh. This year, the annual furry convention is anticipated to generate more than $21.7 million in direct visitor spending, and attendees had booked more than 12,000 total room nights among 21 downtown, North Shore, and Station Square hotels, also according to Visit Pittsburgh. And this was also interesting to me when I was researching it, was that there was participants from all 50 states. Obviously, the vast majority were from Pennsylvania, but there was also attendees from over 40 countries and 5 continents, which is really cool to see how the event has just grown over time.
Yeah, just like you were saying, Anna, there were just so many people there. When I was there for the opening day, we did like the press conference and I got to see some of the attendees. And something that was really interesting this year going in was that they had the 10th Street bypass underneath the convention center completely blocked off.
Oh, wow.
Because of the sheer number of attendees that were expected. And there were people already lining up through the ropes that they had set up on that street when I got there. And it was like just starting to open. They were already lining up for registrations. So yeah, a very, very big weekend. And it's not just a big weekend for, the fursuiters themselves. It's also a big weekend for the city. As you said, it generates so much economic impact. But people of Pittsburgh just love seeing them. And that was a theme that was addressed during the press conference at the end of last week. And Jared Bachar, president and CEO of Visit Pittsburgh, said, quote, just the simple fact that Pittsburgh opens up its streets and our businesses to this incredible group of people who come back and just really love Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh loves them, I think is such a remarkable testament to the openness and welcoming spirit of Pittsburgh. He said, similar to previous years, Anthrocon had its traditional public-facing events, including the fursuit parade and block parties. So that those are the 2 events where anyone who's not directly involved with Anthrocon can come and watch and see the different costumes and participate. He said that more than 5,000 people were expected to line that parade route that was on Saturday. He said, quote, the city, they just cheer when they're walking by restaurants. They're waving. It brings a smile to our faces. With everything that's going on in the world, this testament of just human kindness is really extraordinary. So yeah, just people showing up and supporting the furries and welcoming them to Pittsburgh is, just a great way for the city to embrace Anthrocon, he had said.
Yeah, that reminds me a little bit of a comment made by John Cole, or his name Cuddle Pup also. He's the Anthrocon's public outreach director, and he was talking about what it feels like for, on the opposite side, people who are coming to the event to see like restaurateurs wearing fur ears or putting paw prints outside of their stores and kind of like the warm welcome. So it was cool to hear about how both sides, there's like a real celebration for the return of Anthrocon to the city, and it's cool to see like everyone preparing. And that reminds me also of like Andrew McCutcheon's, his tweeting relationship with the furries. Every year he always kind of announces their arrival. And he even believes apparently that there's a connection between the energy of the furry community and his own performance in baseball, joking that he becomes a better player when they're in town, according to CBS News. So that's super fun.
Well, there you go. That's wild. Yeah, so at Anthrocon, the furries go by their animal names when addressing the media and talking to people. And so one of the fursuiters I met named Spangler. They appeared as a brown and white dog, and they've been fursuiting for 23 years and have been a staff member at Anthrocon for almost 15. They said, quote, "It gives me something to look forward to every year. It's like my second home." Yeah, and Spangler's not even from Pittsburgh. They fly in from Maine every year, and sort of talked about with me how every year, even in the airport, they're recognized carrying like the suit's head through the airport. They said, quote, "There have been times when I've come into the airport just carrying my head through the airport. People say, 'Oh my God, it's this week.' They get really excited to see us." So that's, again, just a testament to how excited the city gets when the furries are in town and how much it means to the furries themselves. And speaking of meaning, every year, Anthrocon names an official charity. And this year, it was the McDonald-based nonprofit Nose to Tail Cat Rescue. It is a volunteer-run no-kill shelter and small foster network that cares for 20 to 40 homeless cats and kittens at a time. And since it became a nonprofit in 2018, it's found a home for over 700 cats with a low return rate. So yeah, they were the main beneficiary this year from Anthrocon, and we will find out pretty soon how much was actually generated for that nonprofit, which is awesome.
I think another really unique aspect of Anthrocon is they choose a different theme every year and kind of center a lot of the events, the celebration, and also art. So this year was Deep Sea Adventure. And it's interesting also to see how art is a huge part of Anthrocon as well as the fursuiting. For example, when I talked to John KP Cole, he talked about how he's a calligrapher, actually. And so he really enjoyed, as a young person, finding the community, being a calligrapher and a writer, and kind of the Anthrocon community's emphasis on celebrating your art and your creation. And kind of the presentation of your fursona is also part of that creativity and creation as well. And it's also interesting, going back to John Cole was reflecting on how art has changed and taken a more digital lens as well. And so that's also interesting, seeing how Anthrocon has kind of become more digital, just focusing on digital art, even using virtual reality art as well.
And then finally, I wanted to talk about Chris Mays, the Deputy Director of Public Relations at Anthrocon, talked about how this year is Pittsburgh's 19th Anthrocon. So that means next year is going to be a really big year. 20th year of Anthrocon, and they're already thinking about how that's going to look in the city and what kind of fun things that Anthrocon can do. He said, quote, "As much as we're trying to keep the excitement going for 2025 and our 19th year, I can say that there already have been some conversations about what we can expect, what we want to do for 2026 to celebrate our 20th year."
Wow, yeah, so lots to look forward to and seeing how the event continues to be a really important part of the city. Thanks so much, Megan, for coming on and recapping the Anthrocon experience.
Definitely. Again, thanks for having me. Thanks for the chat. And all of our listeners can find more Pittsburgh summer event coverage at triblive.com.
Thanks for joining. If you enjoyed this week's episode, share the podcast to help keep Western PA locally informed with insightful discussion and the latest news from your area. It's an easy way to spread the word, and it helps our podcast reach more people like you. Don't forget to follow us on Spotify and turn on episode notifications so you never miss new content. Once again, I'm Zach Gibson, and this is From the Newsroom.